Hi, I'm Fraser Douglas, and I've been an avid tent camper now for 55 years. In this video, I want to briefly summarize the history of outdoor lighting, and then I want to tell you about the specific lights that we pack for our camping trips to make our campsite as comfortable as possible. Hope you enjoy this video. When packing for a camping trip, you'll need to include the lights you'll need to perform several activities after dark. For example, you'll need lights to start your day early in the morning before sunrise, and you'll need lights to finish your chores at the end of the day. You'll need a good light to walk around the campground after dark to avoid guy lines, roots, rocks, holes, landscape timbers, and possibly snakes. And you'll need lights to read or play board games after dark. And so camping families should pack several different kinds of lights. Before describing the lights that we typically pack for a camping trip, let me give you a little background information about outdoor lighting. Candles were used for illumination over 4,000 years before the birth of Jesus. But candles have several limitations as outdoor lighting. First, one candle only produces about 13 lumens of light. At this rate, you'd need 20 of these candles to produce the same amount of light as an old incandescent 25-watt light bulb. So, to light a tent or kitchen area, you'd need about 5 or 6 candles. For a week-long camping trip, you'd need several dozen candles. Second, using several candles presents a high fire risk. If you put one in the wrong place or you forget about one, you could damage your other gear and perhaps burn your tent down. Third, candles do not offer much portable light. When you need to perform a chore, you can only carry one candle in your hand, and it will prevent you from using both hands unless you set it down. And finally, unprotected candles are easily snuffed by light wind, thus restricting their usefulness as outdoor lighting. Enclosed candle lanterns and oil lamps provided a little more protection from the wind, but not much. These lamps still were not very practical in moderate wind after dark. Perhaps the greatest advancement in outdoor lighting occurred in the early 1800s when the hurricane lantern was developed. This lantern burned whale oil and, depending on the width of its wick, produced about 100 lumens, or about 8 times the light of a single candle. More importantly, it could remain lit in moderate to strong wind, but it still posed a high fire risk, and it was messy. It had to be refilled with whale oil once or twice a day, and this refueling frequently led to smelly and possibly dangerous fuel spills. Nevertheless, this hurricane lantern was widely used by American pioneers as the best source of outdoor lighting for about 100 years, and is still being used with kerosene fuel by a few traditionally minded campers. The best known of these hurricane lanterns is the Ditz Old Reliable Lantern. A second major development in outdoor lighting occurred around 1915 when the Coleman Company introduced the pressurized kerosene mantle lantern, later to become a pressurized white gas mantle lantern. These were very bright lanterns producing between 700 and 1,000 lumens of light. I bought one of these gas lanterns in 1968 and used it for about 20 years. Although this lantern was very bright and was resistant to strong wind, it had other limitations. In particular, refilling the fuel tank frequently resulted in smelly fuel spills. Mantles were fragile and had to be replaced often, and fuel generator tubes frequently clogged with carbon soot and had to be cleaned or replaced. In 1975, the Coleman Company introduced a much cleaner propane lantern, and I bought one around 1990 and used it for another 20 years. I stopped using this lantern around 2009 after a campground neighbor complained that my lantern was too bright and kept him from enjoying the dark summer sky. Furthermore, I was tired of burning my fingers on the hot surfaces and was afraid that our grandson might accidentally touch it and burn his fingers. And we could not take the lantern inside the tent because of its carbon dioxide and fire risk. For more information about great camping gear, please visit my website, moderntentcamping.com. A link is provided in the discussion below. And while you're there, please check out my Amazon store page. Now, let me describe 5 different kinds of lights that we typically pack for our camping trips. Each of these lights is available as either a disposable battery option or a rechargeable battery option. And each option has its limitations. For example, repeatedly buying disposable batteries can get expensive, and the disposal of these used batteries can be an environmental hazard. Rechargeable batteries, on the other hand, require access to a 110 electrical outlet, a power station, or expensive solar charging equipment. And keeping several rechargeable lights fully charged on a camping trip can be a complicated juggling act. Perhaps the best general purpose camp light is an LED headlight that requires 3 AAA disposable batteries and produces about 150 lumens of diffuse light for a distance of about 6 to 10 feet. Each of these lights cost about $10 to $30. These lights shine a moderately bright light on anything you look at, and they allow you to perform a wide variety of camping chores with both hands, such as preparing meals, washing dishes, repairing your gear, reading a book, playing board games. For a camping trip, we pack 1 headlight for each person plus 2 extras and extra batteries. 3 major limitations of headlights are they blind other camping buddies when you try to carry on a conversation with them. They don't produce much long-distance light, and they break easily. Our second favorite camp light is a mini LED flashlight that requires 1 AA battery and produces about 200 lumens of focused light for several yards. Each one costs about $20. We hang these flashlights on a lanyard and wear them almost every night around our neck with our headlights. We find these flashlights to be especially useful for avoiding hazards when walking after dark, identifying animals and objects several yards away from us, and finding objects that have dropped on the ground or been misplaced in our gear. These lights are both economically priced and rugged, but they do not allow hands-free operation. Our third favorite camp light is a rechargeable hanging dome lantern that produces up to 1,000 lumens of diffuse light. We hang 2 of these lights in our tent to create a very cozy motel room-like environment where we can easily find small items such as our medicine that we need to take before going to bed, and we can read a book or play games or just sit around and talk for a while before falling off to sleep. We hang another one of these dome lights in the center of our kitchen canopy to supplement what other lights we might have in there. And we hang a fourth one in the back of our car where we keep our food and kitchen gear. Most of these hanging dome lanterns cost about $25 to $30. The fourth type of light that we routinely pack for our camping trips is a set of rope lights or string lights that is about 20 feet long. The first set of lights that we bought was a string of rope lights powered by a 110-volt electrical outlet, but I was a little afraid of the risk of electrical shock, especially during wet, rainy weather. So we converted over to a string of rechargeable LED lights, and we feel much more comfortable. We hang them along the top of two walls in our kitchen canopy, and they provide considerable light for preparing meals or cleaning up after meals after dark. Furthermore, they create a very warm and welcoming glow for our campsite. The battery for these lights is hanging in the orange bag in the upper right corner of the canopy. Here's a close-up shot of our string lights and battery. Finally, we pack at least one tabletop lantern with at least 500 lumens of light to provide a little extra light wherever we happen to be working. For example, if we're preparing a meal, we bring the lantern in to our kitchen to provide a little extra light. If we're eating our meal, we may bring the lantern to our dining table, and when we wash our dishes, we'll bring the lantern to our dishwashing station. Currently, we're using this old UST lantern that uses 3 size D disposable batteries and produces about 500 lumens of light. But you can now buy rechargeable tabletop lanterns that produce over 1,000 lumens of light. We pack all of our lights along with either a heater or a fan, depending on the weather, and a couple of citronella candles in this milk crate. Before concluding, I'd like to say that if you have young children, you may also want to buy glow sticks that can be used to make necklaces and ankle bracelets for your children so that you can keep an eye on them after dark and so that drivers in the campground can see them if they impulsively run out into the road. Well, I hope you've learned something from this video, and I hope that it helps you make some decisions about the specific kinds of lights that you may want to add to your camping kit in order to make your campsites more comfortable.
Take more trips, travel further, visit more attractions, and spend less money. Go tent camping. Thanks for watching.